Cooper's looking like he'll be back, I imagine.
Yep.
Chase out.
Chase out, but improving. So we expect him out of the bye week to be available. And I think he's getting close. I just don't think it'll be by Saturday. Cooper's back, so he's in good shape, and so that'll set our 3 deep.
Do you think Davion Davis is looking like potentially coming out of the bye week that he could play?
I don't know that I'm willing to say that yet. I think there's still an element. He's doing on-field drill work now, and he's doing change direction drill work, so he's improving. But going from that to playing is a big leap. So I want to give that some time.
How are you guys kind of working to defensively kind of rebound from last week?
Well, it's hard sometimes to even to say we showed some improvement after you give up 55 points. Understand that when I look at that score, I think certainly there are things that defensively we're going to do to limit points. But I also think there's ownership in all 3 phases. And so a couple punt returns that cross the 50-yard line, give them short fields. 3 and outs on offense are like turnovers for us. So we can be better in all 3 phases to have point limitation for the opponent. Specifically in terms of how we played defense, I felt like we got them to third downs, and we weren't able to get off the field on third down. So 3 third down tight red zone snaps where, getting off the field and finishing the drive into field goals, it's a big difference between 3 and 7. You go from 28 points to 12 points if all those possessions end in field goals. So we've had a heightened focus on our third down execution, our third down package. I was pleased with the fact that on the whole, we limited explosive touchdowns in the game. That's got to be a formula we pull forward. And I thought on the whole, we defended the run between the tackles well. But as we look at the film, there's still some detail there. And one of the points of focus defensively this week is going from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 2 is a big deal. And so when you're participating in the game, you can give up 8 yards on 1st down and whatever. Going with the same play, having a heightened level of execution is the difference between participating and dominating. So we have attention to detail, all 11 guys doing their job. We get a TFL from Devin Lee, right? That is Vanderbilt football, and we can control a part of that. Obviously, when you play defense and they complete a ball, they make a big play, you got to give credit to them. But, we've shown this year that when 11 guys are on the same page doing their job, we limit the opponent's ability to be effective on base downs. We got to continue that and do it at a higher level so that we can get to third down and get the stops.
This is pretty random, but so I imagine Miles Capers is out for the spring too, right?
We expect him to be back for the spring. Again, spring goes over a month and it's 15 practices, so back doesn't necessarily mean practice 1. I think we have to see how he responds, but and it also doesn't necessarily mean full participation. But he will have, our expectation is he will have a role in the spring on the field.
Okay. In terms of, so I'm watching like Dumbo over there working, and then Jameson Wharton and Savion Riley who haven't played yet. Do you think those guys and also Zunk are potentially gonna get into games in the last 4, or do you see? I would guess that most of your freshmen will see some sort of playing time, or is it possible that they just sit if obviously like you've said it before that they need to contribute to winning.
No, we're constantly exploring what those roles could look like. JMO's going to travel with us this weekend, and so he's trying to carve himself a role on special teams. I think again for a freshman, it's a matter of continuing to improve. You never want to put a ceiling on what they're capable of doing on the field because they're growing so much every day, and for all of those guys, there's certainly something they can do to help us. We got to find it and we got to put them in that position. But I'd love to see them all participate. That's not saying they all will. It just depends on how the year shakes out, how our depth holds up, and what they prove to us that they can do like through the week of practice.
Do you view J-Mo as a possible like return man, or is it more coverage?
More in coverage or return units where he's doing work holding up or something like that, or blocking a punt. I mean, he can do those things. Less in the return game right now. That's a bigger skill and something we want to train a little bit longer than we've had a chance to train.
What does a guy like Christian James mean to this defense and this program?
Well, he's just so steady. I mean, we've it was even since last year. You look up, kind of late in the season, start paying attention, and 91 just keeps showing up. He keeps showing up, making plays. He's consistent. He's battled injury. He's really established himself as someone that we can count on. So he means a lot to us.